Probably. I think I need 500.
Yes, well,
Oh, yeah, man, I was upstairs.
Replace the roll with that. Big enough.
Hey Fred,
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
10
Yeah.
it is 10 a.m.
Look at three.
Good time.
It being 10 a.m. on Monday, April 10th, we'll call this legislative, judicial, ethics, safety, and security committee meeting to order. Has the notice been properly distributed?
Yes, it has.
Okay, thanks. Roll call, we've got Phil, myself, Kevin, Dennis. And I think Dave Morrock is joining us from sunny California. We have a quorum. We'll review and approve the agenda for today's meeting.
So.
Second. Pick whatever you want. Second it. Pick whatever you want.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Likewise for the minutes of our meeting February 13.
I move to approve.
Dennis moves to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
By Phil, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. We have no public comment here, maybe any private comment? Okay. Ordinances resolution. Packer River Wetland Mitigation. Bank sponsor. Resolution number 50. Designation of administrator of Wapaka River Wetland Mitigation Bank. Yes. Casey?
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Casey. I'm the Highway Commissioner. With me today, I've got Stuart from McMahon, ecologist. He's been leading the charge with us on developing the property around the wetland, the old Lakeview Manor site. And so through the processes of checking the box and getting our plan ready to roll, one of the things that we have to do, let me not exclude online, who's also with us. So online with us, we've got Kyle Zabung from the U.S. Corps of Engineers. He's joining us via Zoom. And then also joining us is David Palm. He's with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. Both of them two gentlemen are the project oversights representing the Corps and the DNR, members of the internal review team that we're together as the county entities, our consultant and ourselves submitting our compensation plan to the internal review team. And so we've submitted the prospectus plan. The prospectus plan came back and it's good. Now we're at the final stages of providing the compensation plan of the mitigation bank. And prior to that being completed, where the compensation plan is approved, there's a few things that we need to check the boxes on. The purpose of us being here today and this resolution is to define some specifics in this packet that I handed you out. The specifics are to determine the name of the bank sponsor. And so, yes, me being a county employee, walking around receiving a county paycheck is good, but the internal review team, Kyle, Dave, and his crew, they want to verify that if Wapaka County is going to create a wetland mitigation bank, that there's more specifics as to who they need to contact or who's going to be responsible for this bank over the years. Over the years, could be 50 years, a conservation easement, which is a whole nother topic, could be for eternity. And so with future highway commissioners, with future internal review team members, we have to designate a bank sponsor. And so in that, we've created a resolution that I'll just read out word for word at this point, and then we'll go more into this handout. So the subject of this resolution is the designation of administrator of the Wapaka River Wetland Mitigation Bank, whereas the purpose of the Wapaka River Wetland Mitigation Bank is to serve the public by supplying wetland compensatory mitigation credits within the Fox BSA within the Lake Michigan Basin. Furthermore, the intent is to use the wetland credits for wetland permitting for county road construction projects for decades in the future, or for ourselves developing roads as a county highway department. These credits are preferably over permittee responsible wetland mitigation sites and the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources in lieu wetland mitigation credits, partly since there is not temporal wetland loss. And whereas the Wapaka County Highway Department is proposing a 244 wetland mitigation bank, 244 acre wetland mitigation bank in the town of Royalton, Wapaka County, Wisconsin. The site is proposed to generate up to 129 credits, give or take a few. The property is located in the section surrounding the old Lakeview Manor at those locations. The site is an access driveway off of Manor Drive, which is a part of the requirement. There always has to be public access to this mitigation bank, and there is with our gravel road. For the internal review team to show up, do their inquiries, do an investigation, or ensure that the site's where it needs to be. Paragraph 3, whereas Wapaka County Highway and Public Property Committees have worked collaboratively to develop the mitigation bank pertaining to county-owned property located in the town of Royalton. And whereas the Wetland Mitigation Bank will both provide a source of revenue for Wapaka County due to available wetland credits available for sale to other local government units for Wapaka County's use in the construction of highways and identified wetland areas. And whereas Wapaka County is requiring to designate an authorized representative to represent Wapaka County in all transactions related to the Wapaka River Wetland Mitigation Bank with the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, the Army Corps of Engineers, and other local governments. Therefore, it be resolved the Wapaka County hereby authorizes the Wapaka County Highway Commissioner of the Wapaka County Highway Department appointed by the then seated county board to act on behalf of Wapaka County to be the administrator of the mitigation bank, to sign the documents, take all necessary actions, to undertake, direct, and complete any necessary administrative actions related to the operations of this mitigation bank. So thank you for Diane for that wording, and it was very in-depth, but it says what it has to say. And when you say what it has to say, is we're going to create the next step in our process is this mitigation bank index. So with that, we as a public property committee and legislative judicial committee would like to pass a resolution to the county board designating that. I'm just going to flip through onto step 2, that the identity of the owner of this bank is Wapaka County as a whole. The identity of the sponsor of this bank is the Wapaka County Highway Department. Thence number 3, the identity of the long-term steward will be the Wapaka County Highway Commissioner. So we're appointing those certain personnel and processes along the way, identifying that Wapaka County still as a whole county holds the conservation easement for this property. Then if we go to flipping through to just some other quick ones, I believe page 8 in this draft MBI index, it shows again, we have to identify who's the ownership of the mitigation site. We again need to identify a long-term steward and reiterate the identification of the long-term management activities. And then in green, or paragraph 4 on page 8, the highway operations or the transportation fund would be the funding mechanism that has helped get this bank established, credited. And the highway department will also continue the management of this from here on out. It isn't just we're going to hold on to it as a highway department for 1 month and let it go. It's for its eternity in today's discussion. So with that, the highway department, myself, along with our internal review team, who I've invited, our ecologist Stuart, are all sitting before you today to ask for that permission or to help pass this resolution to the county board for further.
So you acting like kind of a trustee to the funds, or less?
Our finance department will be the ultimate trustee and holder of the funds managed by our treasurer, but
You'll be them, and you're basically the administrator.
on the administrator with this conversation. Now, are going to be future resolutions which designate that the funds received or sale of credits come back to the Transportation Services Fund to support road construction, road maintenance, and bridge maintenance. But that resolution is not yet to be brought to the table yet because our finance director and our, as department heads, want to ensure that our financial auditors in June review all of that types of sales and how that occurs. And so we're going to just hold off on our auditors to pass that resolution. So it's formally exactly the way it needs to be, because mitigation bank credits can be a little different than just receiving general transportation aids or sales tax. And so,
But like we were talking in the highway committee, this money is gonna go to future road construction, not the general fund.
that's going to be the intent with the resolution we'll pass in June at the county board.
Okay,
But
good.
that one, we still have to wait on the auditors to review a formal resolution like that. But yes,
If I could add, so the goal is that the credits reduce the amount of levy that the county as a whole is sending each year in the budget to the transportation fund. So the levy amount, so there will be a flow of funds. If the credits come into highway, then there will be a reduction of levy that was previously assigned to highway that's going to come back into the general fund.
Okay.
If you want me to explain that more, I can.
Well, I guess the key thing is, how much did we spend on this thing already? 300 some thousand in the highway department?
And those are the things that the auditors need to net out. So that's the financial infrastructure, we don't know at this point in time, but obviously the transportation fund will be made whole with the expenses to establish.
Yeah, because within the
bank.
highway committee, we want to be reimbursed for that we already
Right.
invested.
That is the intention. So,
Okay,
but
good.
the auditors need to weigh in on that.
Good.
How that happens and what is the accounting trail that needs to occur.
So what you need from us today, Casey, is what? To approve this?
I need you to approve this to designate the highway department as the sponsor, the highway commissioner as the steward, because someday I'm gonna retire and leave and this thing will keep going
You
on.
really?
Well, someday, I'm saying 10, 15, 30, I don't know how many years. But this is gonna be, this is gonna be out there for other highway commissioners, other highway department staff to administer. Therefore, Casey's name isn't specifically on here, just the title of which I hold the title.
We need a motion from someone to,
I'll move.
moved by Kevin, second.
I'll second.
Any discussion, by the way, first?
Quick
I
question.
have- yeah,
Go
I have one.
ahead, go ahead, Scott.
You said sale of credits, explain that, are you gonna sell them to other entities we're gonna get money from, is that, or explain that situation?
The sale of credits, and I don't know if Kyle or Dave want to help me with the sale of credits, but I can give it my best. Unless Kyle, you'd like to describe, you're the professional on it.
Yeah, thanks, Casey. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the idea with a private commercial bank is once the site meets performance standards, you get, credits released and those credits are available for sale to Corps and DNR permittees to offset or to fulfill mitigation requirements for wetland loss that's authorized by our permit. So, with the sponsor being Waupaca County Highway Department, those you have the option of using them for in-house projects. So instead of going and purchasing the credits from another established mitigation bank, you can debit those credits for internal purposes for permitting requirements, but then also there's the opportunity to sell the credits to, most commonly we deal with developers, highway departments, utility companies. There's a variety of applicants, but there's kind of a twofold benefit, is the way I would see it.
I guess I assumed it was just for us, but it's not.
We make money by selling.
I mean, we don't wanna, I guess we established it for the reason of we needed.
We need
two
credits for
credits, but
ourselves.
We don't anticipate using all those, is that what I'm?
Correct. We would like to sell some of the
Okay.
credits and use that as a offset for.
Revenue.
Some other counties, Phil.
Okay,
So-
we make money and we can,
yeah.
One quick, for instance, or two quick for instances is when we developed our Waupaca Highway Shop here in Waupaca. we disturbed wetland type soils. And so we had to pay $85,000 in fee for the I guess wrecking of the old wetland types. We spent 130,000 Whitening County, just in credits. If I can take those dollars and use our own bank
Right.
credits that we have and sell credits to others, that's gonna be a win-win for
Right.
Wapaka County. And I just thought, since Lakeview Manor's site is just rented out, let's propose it. So we've been on year 3 of 4 of this.
Yeah.
And McMahon has done a great job with all the steps to get us up to the prospectus level, stating, is this site viable before we even go to the compensation or plan? And it has, so, yep.
Okay,
Thanks.
any other discussion?
Just a question for Diane. You mentioned something about the revenue we would get, obviously, if you sold credits on that offsetting the budget for the highway department. Is that how that would do? So in essence, that budget, the revenue coming in from this would actually reduce the county
Support of the highway.
support of the
department.
highway department,
Correct.
so there would be actually other, how can I say? Because of that savings, there might be other monies for other departments. and such.
Programs, exactly, yeah, so there'll be more levy maintained
Or-
in the general operations
Okay.
that used to be allocated to the highway department for their operations. So the goal is to, reduce the amount of levy that highway needs because they have this income stream coming from the credits. And then that will go back into the general operations to be distributed however the county board allocates in their annual budget process.
So it's not, in addition, it's not like this is your budget, now we got these credits, revenue, and then it's on top of what you already are thinking. It's the other way around. Okay, that's my, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
With a 333-mile county infrastructure, we have to pretty much be replacing 13 miles of road every year to maintain flipping a road every 30 years. We're way under that right now. And so the discussions will come annually because every year you have to have buyers of credits. So we haven't sold any yet. So we have to find the buyers. So that number will fluctuate each year on how many credits we sell. It's not like a guaranteed stream of income coming in every year that's identical.
Right.
To depend on.
One more question. Eventually, these credits would run out if you sold, then what happens? Then it's,
Then we've satisfied it and there's a conservation easement on this property that it no longer can ever be touched
okay.
for development, farming,
Okay.
anything. It remains a wetland site for
Forever.
eternity.
Okay,
But it'll have a use of silent sports,
Exactly.
bird watching.
yeah,
hiking
right,
trails.
sure, it'll be a
Pressure
natural,
skiing.
natural wildlife area, yeah, okay.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Can we clarify who had the second? I had,
Yeah, we need a second for that. Kevin made the motion to
I did.
approve it.
okay,
And Dennis
Dennis made it.
Wingalski second.
okay, thank you.
All those in favor on the committee?
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution passes. We're set to move on, Casey.
Very good. Thank you, Mother. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, reports, we've got a first time
District
Visitor.
attorneys next.
visitor here.
Well, I would say I know that there are some parties awaiting Judge Nielsen if he would like to go first. I'm more than happy.
District attorney, D comes before.
Oh, I know.
I'm just a spectator. I have nothing to say. I'm just here to
Why? I voted for you, you're the only one on the ballot.
appreciate that. Thank you.
You can be judge for how much longer now, 6 more years?
Yes,
We're gonna behave.
I do.
Okay, no, I mean, what I meant, Kat, is this is the first of our legislative judicial meetings, I think that you've been to.
It is. Thank you for having me.
So there might be some people that don't know who you are,
So I'm,
not these people, but
yeah.
Dennis,
I was introduced.
Okay.
I know who she is.
yes, our new district attorney.
I know her.
Okay. You been in trouble or what?
Law enforcement
Oh, what?
committee.
You have the floor, Kat.
So I'm Kat Turner. I was appointed by the governor to the district attorney's position following the resignation of my predecessor, Veronica Isherwood. I'm not sure what kinds of information would the committee like regarding my department?
Guess there isn't anything specific month to month, but. Is there, Diane?
My pattern, Kat, is to sort of give volume updates in terms of my caseload, new case activity, which may or may not work for your office. But main issues are staffing concerns, and then any sort of budgetary needs
budget
that may
things.
be coming in the short term or the long term. And I think maybe what's the recent conversation that you've been having with the architects about your space maybe would be helpful too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that insight.
You're welcome.
So with respect to staffing, we managed to stay fully staffed for 8 days this time before resignation. So our office manager.
You don't have to give a report like I do, Kat.
Our office manager, Marianne Carlson, had resigned on Friday. She's accepted a victim witness specialist position with Winnebago County Office of the District Attorney, which is an excellent move for her as she's a resident of Winnebago County, but it is a huge loss for our office. Frankly, she and I've addressed this with the HR committee in the past. She does the work of 3 people at minimum. Part of the benefit to having Marianne in our office was that she had worked in every clerical position as well as both victim witness positions prior to assuming the role of office manager when Karen Schlater retired from that position. So she has been instrumental, Marianne has, in training new attorneys, new clerical staff, new victim witness coordinator. It's going to be a huge loss. Frankly, I'm not confident that we'll be able to replace her with one person. We have spoken with HR a number of times that we really are grossly understaffed. Given the size of our office, we really ought to have 4 clerical staff plus an office manager. We should also have a victim witness specialist that's full-time. We do not. We have 2 full-time clerical staff, 1 half-time clerical staff who is also a half-time victim witness specialist, 1 victim witness coordinator, and 1 office manager. That is under where we ought to be, and they are really struggling to keep up. That's problematic with respect to the amount of discovery that is needing to go out, which is only increasing with the adoption of the iCrime Fighter platform by the Sheriff's Department and the increased staffing at the Sheriff's Department. The volume of electronic discovery coming specifically from that agency, but countywide from law enforcement to our office has increased dramatically, while our staffing has not increased at all. Given that our clerical staff is really underwater trying to get those documents out to defense attorneys in a timely fashion, that is an ongoing struggle. There are only so many hours in the day. So in a perfect world, we would be hiring at least 2 additional personnel if adequate staffing were funding for that staffing increase were provided. That segues into the conversations that we had with the architects, given the potential reorganization, restructuring of square footage in the building. I think it would make sense for us to have a little bit larger space if we were able to get that additional staff funded. Additionally, we did discuss with the architects some safety concerns our office, like a couple of the other offices, our only means of egress from the office are onto the same hallway, and we don't have any kind of secure bulletproof wall or glass separating our office from the public open lobby to our office. So in a situation where there were an active shooter, our secretarial staff would be sitting ducks, and sadly, I think it's unlikely that everyone from our office would be able to escape, because leaving the office, though there are 3 doors that exit the office, all 3 of those doors open to the exact same hallway.
And you're trapped where you
And
are.
and we'd be trapped. So that is problematic, and that's something that hopefully the architects will be able to address, as that's a real safety concern. Our office is in a kind of unique position where, given the nature of the work that we're doing, there's a lot of people who are unhappy with our office, and it's coming from all directions. A few weeks ago, we had the father of a victim of a sex assault case who threatened to come do violence against staff members in our office. We don't have any courthouse security. That was something that was addressed with the architects as well, which is unusual for a county of our size. I mean, even Waushara County, which is smaller, has significantly beefed up their full-time courthouse security, and we've done nothing of the sort. We had the sheriff's department kindly agreed, when we did have those credible threats from that victim's father, they did send over an officer to literally just sit in our office all day. But that's not something that's always going to be practical, and those kinds of threats aren't always voiced in advance.
Okay, we've been fighting on this courthouse security for, I think, as long as I've been on the board, 12 years. And it seems like the finance department and the powers that be on that end just don't believe it. There is any real threat. And on top of that is courtroom security, which Judge Huber has required. We used to meet every couple of months from the state Supreme Court. They made the order down that courtrooms must have certain kind of security. So I guess in your case, I was not aware that, well, you lost this one person who did work with 3 or 4 people, but so obviously we need to staff 2 people. And then I think the architects are looking at several different things to do, but your office, from what I've seen there, it's kind of an afterthought. Sitting off to the side there, and if somebody comes in downstairs on the first floor, says, is looking for the district attorney's office, and somebody didn't tell them, they'd have a hard time finding it. So that's maybe a plus for security. But yeah, that's we've got to come up with the funds to do that.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry, and instead of keep kicking the can down the road like the finance department has done, we got to take it by the horns and do it.
I mean, it was frightening.
Yeah.
It was frightening.
Well, it's unfortunate, but that's the environment we've all started to live in. And she says, we had a credible threat, but like she said, also, we don't know when the next threat may walk in. He's unannounced. And I think it behooves all of us, now that she said that, to start kicking that a little bit and get it to the forefront, maybe.
If I could interject again, I'm one of the core team members working with the architects, and the #1 priority for this entire building for every department is security. So that will be part of the conversation coming forward in the next couple of months, and then obviously there's a price tag with that. So they will share the price tag for that. And spoiler alerts, they're looking at a technology solution. So but
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
If I,
When you, Kat, when you put together, which is what? April,
Me,
start tattling on the budgets for next year,
July.
probably July.
Yeah,
So,
but I.
but you're gonna have to hire that replacement person or sons before that.
Yes,
So you guys will just have to do it.
Yeah. Fred, if I could ask a question or two on that or comment as it were, it'd be helpful. Your predecessor really came to our meetings, even when we met right outside our door practically. It would be helpful because you're looking at this fresh. And therefore, it would be helpful to me at least, if you would be able to, as you point out briefly today, right? Look what your staffing are, but it really, if you could also say, you know, here's comparable counties that we have. And this is the staffing requirements they have for that minimals and stuff. And if you could give us kind of like small amounts at a time to absorb, so we can actually understand and also retain what you tell us. To let us know exactly where we stand in comparable counties.
Sure.
For staffings and everything on that. And then regarding this, the safety part of that, you know, it comes down to, it would also be helpful there if we could be made aware, and this goes to the judge as well. If we'd be made aware of how often there is a confrontation, how often has a judge been, you know, attacked or anything in the courtroom, outside the courtroom. I think the most recent, the past year was at his own home. He's a retired judge. Judge Hoffman used to ride his bicycle from Manawa, for God's sakes, to the courthouse. So you kind of wonder about that. But I think it would be helpful so we could be more supportive and have facts versus a thing that says, well, yeah, we all gotta be safe. And your thing obviously is out there with no exits. And I mean, you're kind of dangerous.
sitting ducks.
Well, yeah.
You got two issues here. The one is courthouse security, which is our responsibility.
public property as well.
But I mean, and the next part is courtroom security, which the state Supreme Court has mandated
Right.
something be done. And we're just dragging our feet. When's the last time we had a meeting on that, Diane? Probably,
So that's a group that is led by Judge Huber.
yeah.
And I defer to his scheduling, but we haven't met for,
um,
pre-COVID.
I
Oh,
know.
my.
yeah.
So
But
anyway,
I would like, because I'm a supervisor
Yes,
and
me
I will
too.
go to the
Yeah.
board and I'm not on some of those committees you have. And this is the only access I have
Mm-hmm.
to ask somebody because they're under our jurisdiction in the sense of oversight.
exactly.
Okay, and that's the only reason I'm certain you would be repeating yourself to other committees. But this is a opportunity for us to learn what's going on and get some details so that when we do go to the county board as a whole, we can be informed rather than a committee or whatever saying, well, this is how it should be. We can say, well, we've heard this as well, and therefore we can support this. You know, and if you have any questions, because some of us are not on committees that are dealing with this building or security in this building. It's a small number of county supervisors in reality are looking at this issue. And it's like any issue, but we do have oversight in your department, and the judge is saying there are some oversight. And I think the more we can spread out the information for us who are not part of the specifics,
Yeah.
that we could then turn and have an intelligence to it, and then we can in turn support things on the county board floor. Right, that's the whole idea is
The
to.
biggest holdup, Kevin, here is the finance committee, because they've been kicking
Oh,
the
yeah.
can down the road on this for years and years, so.
But who's on
That's-
finance
What
here?
was
Who's
that?
on finance here?
Nobody.
Yeah, and here we are.
We can still go to the meeting.
Dave,
Well, yeah.
Supervisor
Yeah.
Morak is on finance.
More, yeah, Davis.
We can champion though, we can go to
Yeah.
those meetings and say, hey,
Sure,
now,
we can talk.
we can talk, and that's, you're
That's,
very well right, Kevin. It's. The more you know, the more you can champion her cause to the whole, and maybe if we champion it enough, we can get something in the budget or start to get the.
The point's well taken, Kat. I mean, we'll get
Yes, it's,
with our powers as this committee and, but like I said, the finance people have just been kicking the can down the road and ignoring this. But
So,
then, as far as replacing your people, you have to obviously do that. no matter what.
Something I would just comment
Yeah.
off of what Supervisor Will said is that I don't know that anyone has actually been attacked. And I would suggest that we don't want to wait until someone actually gets attacked. I think this is a matter of an ounce of prevention being worth more than a pound of cure. We have failed if someone gets attacked.
Yeah, exactly.
So I believe we need to, for courtrooms, for the offices in the building, we need to treat every threat as if it were a true threat, because we don't know when that true threat is gonna come.
Every department has some, Department of Health and Human Services, for instance. I have been attacked when I worked, okay? I'm out in the community.
Right.
Therefore, you should often have two people versus the one, and all these different protocols and such that we should be following that we're not. But under here, we have yourself, we have the judges. Obviously clerk of courts. is here as
Diane's
well,
office
Diane's
is-
office.
Yeah.
which familiar with. And the thing comes down to is that if you can just really let us know kind of what you're looking for, your rationale behind things, any of your departments, let us know, because you can have a voice here that some of us would not have the opportunity to hear. And
Absolutely.
we would like to, in my mind, I'd like to be able to really get so the whole board gets a bits and pieces, so we have a real sense of what's going on and what's needed versus a knee jerk type. Some people would think, and it's not, there's safety issues. I understand. I was here when the courthouse was built, this courthouse. And I was that old, yeah, not the old courthouse, though, but this one. I was at this one and we moved in here, and it's always been poorly constructed, I think, regarding safety and even other issues we have regarding this building. And once again, the county has to spend the money, Fred, right? To make the changes. That's the big push.
So let's move along.
Okay.
I need to interject. I need to be in court in 3 minutes, so.
Okay, ma'am,
Yeah, we'll see you next month.
thanks for visiting.
Yeah.
Hey, Neva's got another couple cars.
I assume that the judicial report and the clerk of courts report will be short, so I probably won't be back before the meeting's over, so. Thank you,
Okay,
everybody.
take care, dear. Okay. Points well taken. We will, you gotta hire the replacement. You got money for that.
I think we're only funded for a single person,
Single
and
person.
I think our situation, I guess, is going to get a lot worse, because there's no way we're gonna find one
Why don't
person
you
who can
ask,
do what he's doing.
Just gonna approach Heidi. And finance. What is her title?
Finance director.
Finance director. Tell her what the situation is, what
Heidi?
happened, and
Yeah, I don't know if the budget's
I've
set.
addressed it through HR.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, what is Mandy
No.
saying? She said no.
Or you're mid-year, I mean, you're.
Well, yeah, so I did bring it to the HR committee, because I had a feeling that Mary Ann was going to be applying for other positions in other counties, and said, we need to give her a raise to induce her to stay, to make it harder for her to leave. And they just kicked the can. And exactly what I was afraid of happening happened. And I told them, I said, we won't find another one person to do everything she's doing. We simply won't. So,
Frustrating, that they ignore it and they're blowing all this money on legal fees.
Mhm.
With the sheriff's department. Totally frustrating.
No, it's not only sheriff.
Yeah. I would presume our budget is set, but at least we could keep ringing that bell and say, hey, she needs, and you need to keep, I don't know who to go to. This is kind of a multifaceted organization here as far as, okay, who's gonna decide? Okay, we can make another position. Is it human services? Is it the board? Is it finance, or it's all together? I guess you guys are a little bit more versed in that than I am, and she needs to kind of know who to really go to see if she can get at least one extra position.
I guess for now, you're gonna have to live with one until the new budget.
No.
But I would say in a new budget, put in for
oh,
everything you think you need, and then
absolutely.
you may only get one or two, but at least you start the ball rolling.
Started.
Okay. Let's move along here. Where'd Judge Nelson go?
Just.
He has a courtroom full of attorneys waiting on him. He had a 10 a.m. that he,
Is that way he sneaked down here?
Yeah.
What are they after him for?
he has several hearings.
Yes, hearing.
Oh, because he just got reelected.
Well, he was here, now he's gone.
Okay. Well, our new, reasonably new, clerk of Supreme Court,
Reasonably new.
I got nothing. It's going better. Every day was better. First month was very scary and didn't know if I did the right thing, but I'm getting more and more comfortable.
you miss
So,
Vicky?
what's that?
Miss Vicky?
I miss her a lot, but I talk to her every day,
Oh,
so,
okay, good.
yeah. But yeah, it's going good. I'm comfortable. I'm doing good.
Wonderful. Well, with Diane not here, I guess that just about concludes most of our stuff. Anybody got anywhere, seminars or anything? No?
No.
What was that, ma'am?
I don't think there was any conferences scheduled.
They get highway on here now. Anyway, okay, I guess we're done.
Make motion.
You motion to adjourn.
All
Right, Kevin, we're adjourned.
right. Mr. I didn't mean to rail on you a little bit.
Somebody call me.
Really, it'd be worthwhile because some of us are not on.
Good day,
those
Dave.
committees.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
didn't know what to expect, what you
Yeah.
all wanted, but so I didn't feel railed on.
Good. Good, I appreciate it. Sometimes